Okay, welcome to another market open forecast video. I'm Jack. I'm running the trading calls at High Tide Finance. So in this video, we're going to be reviewing GJ as usual, pound against the yen for the first week of August. So it's the trading week commencing 2nd of August. So as always, we're going to start on the monthly here, and I just want to quickly mention how the previous monthly candle closed. So July is here. Obviously, June is here. Both bearish candles, but what's interesting is that July came right back up. So even though it still closed bearish, came right back up to about the 153 area and closed above this level, or right at this level that we've been looking on the monthly time frame. So I found that quite interesting. It's a bit of a shame that the candle didn't flip bullish and eventually close bullish, but plenty of liquidity in this bottom wick here on the higher time frames. So yeah, looking like kind of a mixed signal from GJ on the monthly. Even though it's bearish, it's kind of a weak bearish candle because it's come all the way back up in the last couple of weeks of the month and closed above this level. Down on the weekly time frame, we're also seeing, a bit of a bag of mixed signals. So I'm seeing roughly a support here, lining up with kind of 151, 400, something like that. That's acting as a bit of a support for the meantime. It looks like this previous support on the weekly time frame may have helped that weekly candle there that we're seeing in terms of turning around, bouncing back up and closing up here at 152. The last week of July was also a bullish week. So the last 2 weeks of July were both bullish. Like we've seen on the monthly, failed to bring that monthly candle up and make the monthly candle bullish, but come right back up to 152 and given us that monthly close. So on the weekly time frame, we're seeing a bit of pressure from the buyers and the sellers, to be honest. And we're going to talk about this trend that you can kind of see on the weekly. We're going to talk about this now on the lower time frames. So I'm down on the daily now, and I want to talk about this kind of zone here, which is the area that GJ turned around at. If I just draw like kind of a rough zone here, this is lining up with kind of 149, 150, that region, and this is acting as our higher time frame support on GJ. So this is where we turned around in July, resulting in that interesting monthly candle close that we've spoken about, and this is full of historic reactions here. So way back in April, we've reacted many times. Even in March, we reacted, and it was actually a resistance back in Feb. So this is a bit of a key market level on the daily time frame, lining up with 149. That seems to be our support zone, 149. Something else I want to mention is this trend. We can actually draw this descending trend line now. You can draw this how you like. I actually prefer drawing it on a 4-hour, but we'll get down to the 4-hour after this. So if I just draw it on the daily for now, then we've got this descending trend line. You can see the break and sort of retest of this trend line. If you want to class this little area as a break and retest of the trend line, then I think that makes sense, especially with this daily candle here closing weak bearish above the trend. And then we've just lifted off a little bit. Unfortunately, not that I'm emotionally connected to GJ moving up, I'm not that patriotic, but unfortunately, price did reject this level at 153,500, failed to break above it with this daily candle, and then the last day of the trading month of July was indeed bearish. So now if we zoom in a little bit, we've just got this situation here where we've broken the trend line, retested it, tested this daily level in the market at 153,500, failed to break it, and now we're just sort of moving sideways and deciding what we want to do. So little daily support hidden in here, which lines up with the trend line, and daily resistance just above that. So this is a range of about 100 pips that GJ should be breaking out of in the first week of August. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that range. Okay, so I'm down onto the 4-hour time frame already. I've redrawn this trend line now just so it's kind of pinpoint perfect on these areas here, these touches. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of this trend line, then the initial break that we've already spoken about on the daily time frame. What price has then done is sort of doubled out at the bottom there. That lines up with the trend line area and also 151,500 if you're interested. And now we've basically got this bullish momentum in the market. So I don't really think you can draw a trend line on this bullish momentum, but you can clearly see that we're making sort of higher lows and higher highs on the 4-hour time frame ever since sort of the bottom of the monthly candle, which we spoke about on the weekly time frame. What I want to talk about is some of the hidden levels within this price action now, just looking at sort of the last week or 2 weeks of price action. A level I'm seeing straight away is kind of this area here. So we've got, it's not too clean, but we've got this initial rejection here. This is lining up with 152,600. So we've got this initial rejection, second rejection, then we got a break, retest, lift off. We've come back down to that level then after rejecting the daily level that we've spoken about, up at 153,400, and now we're kind of treating this area as a support. So as we head into August, I'm going to be looking at this area quite closely. I'm going to be keen to see if we actually break this area, then there's a good chance that we're going to come right back down to that trend line, maybe fill this range here, which would kind of tap into that daily range that we've just spoken about, potentially printing a daily breakout. And you never know, we could be back below that trend line in no time and looking very bearish. On the flip side of that, we could treat this area as a support, a nice strong support, lift off this once more like we have here and here, and then eventually break this 153,400 area. So if I was just to sort of summarize everything I've said there and clean up this chart, I can kind of delete that trend line, redraw my support just like this, clone that then. So sort of in layman's terms, I'm looking to activate more of a bullish bias on the break of this level, and I'm looking to activate more of a bearish bias on the break of the previous daily low. I'm not going to sort of marry that bearish bias because I do think that monthly candle is going to want to make a bottom wick at some point. So maybe that monthly candle might choose to make a bottom wick, down to here, or likewise down a little bit lower to here. But we'll just analyze that as and when it happens. Okay, I'm down on the 1 hour now, the last time frame that I'm going to analyze, and I'm seeing a bit of a trend line here. So see this wick, I can use this wick then to start my trend line. Just go off that touch there. And the reason that's quite interesting is because that's kind of leading to where price is at the moment. So this is where price closed in July. We've got this little bullish candle here at this trend line. I'm not sure if this trend line is that relevant or, many of the traders in this market are going to be seeing that as well. But it is interesting nonetheless. I can then use this low here. We can clearly see that this is a bit of a double bottom here. So I can use this area. Obviously, it's a key area with the double bottom and the trend line touch. I can use it to draw Fibonacci. So I can either use this low or this low. I'm going to use this one because it's more recent. Draw from that low to that high there. And this helps me to see that this trend line is lining up with a 50% retracement. So it wouldn't come as too much of a surprise if we did treat this area as a support. But on the flip side of that, like I said, I'm expecting that monthly candle to make a bottom wick at some point. So I can use these other Fibonacci levels then to anticipate other areas of potential reaction for that monthly bottom wick. There's a level here that lines up with a 618, which is many sort of fib traders' favorite level. So I'll keep my eye on that as August gets up and running. And then you've got the 786 down here. I'm going to use this trend line to see if we do break and retest it. But this level here lining up with the 60% in the fib is the one I'm most interested in. Lines up with 152,200. I believe this could potentially be an area of support for GJ if we do break this trend line. If we break the trend line, retest it, and then break this level as well, then things will be looking pretty bearish, and I'll probably activate a strong bearish bias at that point. But, we're just going to have to wait and see. Just a quick look then at the week ahead in terms of fundamental headlines. We can clearly see that Thursday is going to be the most volatile day by quite a long way. So on Monday, we've got some PMI numbers for the yen. They'll come out long before we wake up anyway, so the market probably will have absorbed them. Same happens with the pound. That's after our session as well. The first half of the week then is quite uninteresting. And then, like I said, Thursday is probably going to be the one to avoid in terms of pound yen trading, just because of all these numbers coming out around about lunchtime. So the market might act different or behave differently before these numbers, with less volume and sort of anticipation of more volatility after the numbers come out. So mainly Thursday I'll be avoiding for trading GJ. So I've put all the analysis here into a nice table as usual. We've got a monthly bullish trend with a bearish monthly candle, as we spoke about. The same on the weekly, but the weekly did actually close bullish the last week of July, so that's good for the buyers. Daily time frame is looking bearish in terms of trend and candle. It's not particularly clear, but I've gone with bearish in the end just because of those lower highs and that rejection of that daily area. The 4 hour is unclear. It's broken that trend line, but there's still some rejection there, which is kind of similar to the daily, rejecting that area. And then the 1 hour is kind of leaning more bullish just because it is making higher lows, and we got that trend line that we use to draw the fib off as well. So I've gone with bullish there. But like I said, none of these arrows are particularly clear and obvious. So overall, it's kind of a boring conclusion, but it's also the smartest, is to not have a bias at the moment on the pound. I'm just going to be awaiting to see a few things to make me more confident in activating a bias. So that's going to be the conclusion of this Sunday analysis call. Just a quick note to finish the video. If you guys do want to trade with us this week, that's fine. You absolutely can, as you can any week. We host free trading calls in the community. Well, I host the calls actually. All you need to do is head to our website, hightidefinance.co. I'll put a link to that in the description. You can read a bit about us, but mainly all you need is these links down here. So just click on the Telegram link, and that's where I put the Zoom links every day, 7 to 9 a.m. GMT. We trade an hour of pre-London and an hour of London Open. And yeah, you can meet us in there and we can have a chat. If not, we'll see you next Sunday for another analysis video.